Alright everybody, this is the solving quadratics review. So make sure you have worked these out and then just double check your work. On this first one, we make sure to distribute 5 over the parentheses. We can combine these a's together. Remember, that's a 1a, so that's 4a plus 8. Subtract 4a from both sides. So those cancel out, and that leaves me a over here, and then I can add 10 to both sides. Those cancel each other out, so a is equal to 18. This next one, because it's raised to the third, remember, you're going to factor an x out first. Okay, it's the greatest common factor. And remember, when you factor that x out, this is going to lead me to one of my answers being 0. I'm going to get 3 answers. So the first one's 0. And then I need a factor at the top, so multiply that together. So what factors of positive 12 add up to negative 8? And negative 2 and negative 6 would add up. So I'm going to go x squared minus 2x minus 6x plus 12. Factor an x out of both, and factor a negative 6 out of both of those. That gives me x minus 2. So then I'm going to go x minus 2 equals 0, so x equals 2. That's one of my other answers. And then x minus 6 equals 0, so x equals 6, my other answer. So I have 3 answers to this problem. So make sure you note, because it's raised to the third power, you would have 3 answers. Okay, number 3. A couple ways we can go about doing this one, but I would probably just add 20 to both sides. And then root, don't forget the plus minus. So x is equal to positive or minus root 20. You can break root 20 down to 4 times 5. Remember, 4 is the biggest perfect square root. So the square root of 4 is 2, so I'm going to get plus or minus 2 square root 5. For the next problem, it doesn't look like a greatest common factor, so I'm going to multiply those together. So I'm going to get positive 40. What factors of positive 40 add up to negative 13? And that'd be negative 5 and negative 8. If I add those together, I get negative 13. So I'm going to get 2x squared minus 5x minus 8x plus 20 equals 0. Let's factor an x out, so I get 2x minus 5. And then that's a minus right in there. And then I can factor up here, I can factor a negative 4 out. Notice the signs changed. So I'm going to get 2x minus 5 equals 0. So add 5. Divide by 2. So I get 5 over 2 for one answer. And then x minus 4 is the other one. So it equals 0. So x is equal to 4. For the next problem, first thing you want to do is let's divide everything by 5 first. Okay, I haven't moved anything yet, but let's just do that. That's going to give me 2x, and that's going to be equal to 25. No, it's going to be 15. Excuse me, I can't do math. Now I want to subtract 15 to bring it over. So if we multiply negative 15 times the 1, I'm going to get negative 15. What two numbers multiply together to give me negative 15 and add together to give me positive 2? And in this case, it's going to be a positive 5 and a negative 2. So plug those in. Oops, did I do that right? That should have been a 3. There's a 3 right there. I'm sorry. And again, I'm making mistakes. All right, so that's going to give me x plus 5, because if I factor an x out, and then x minus 3. So x equals negative 5. There's one answer, and x equals positive 3 is the other answer. Next problem, I'm going to subtract the 5, bring it over. And this one we have to use the quadratic formula on. So we have x equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. So x is equal to negative 2 plus or minus. That gives me a 4 right here. And that gives me a positive 20. So that's going to give me positive 24 over 2. And then remember, you can break 24 down 24 breaks down to 4 times 6. Square root of 4 is 2, so I get 2 root 6 over 2. And then I can reduce everything. Everything outside is divisible by 2. So negative 1 plus or minus root 6. That's what x is equal to. Next problem, I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides to get it equal to 0. And then I have to think about what numbers multiply to give me negative 4, but add to give me negative 3, and that would be negative 4 and positive 1. Let's plug those in. So I can factor an x out here, so that's x and x minus 4. And then I can only factor a 1 out here, so that's going to leave me x minus 4. So go ahead and solve that. X minus 4 equals 0. Add 4 to both sides. Let's get 4. There's one answer. And then x plus 1 equals 0. Subtract 1, so that gives me negative 1. For problem number 8, we can add 25 to both sides, or you could identify it as a difference of 2 squares. Doesn't matter which way you do it. But here, if you root, don't forget the plus or minus. Square root of 25 is 5. There's your answer, plus or minus 5. Problem number 9, again, is going to have 3 answers. I'm going to factor an x out first. X minus 6x minus 16 equals 0. Remember, this is going to give me my first answer being 0 because we have 3 answers. And then I'm going to multiply first and last, so I get negative 16, so I have a positive and negative. What factors of negative 16 add to negative 6? And that would be negative 8x plus 2x. So let's plug those in. Factor out an x minus 8. Factor out a 2, x minus 8. So x minus 8 equals 0. So x is equal to 8. And x plus 2 equals 0. So x is equal to negative 2. So there's a negative 2. There's my 3 answers. Remember, again, this was raised to the 3rd power, so you have to have 3 answers.
You done your benefits?
Okay, I'd say we could probably skip number 10. Let's not worry about that. All right, this next one, notice I don't have any x squared, so I'm going to subtract x from both sides. Those are going to cancel, and that's going to give me x right here, or 1x. Then I can add 4 to both sides, so x equals 19, so there's only one answer. This one will be the quadratic formula, so x equals negative 6 plus or minus square root 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 3, all divided by 2 times 1. So x is equal to negative 6 plus or minus 36. This is a 36, right? 6 squared is 36. Plus 12, that's 48 over 2. Remember 48, maybe make a note of this. 48 breaks down to 16 times 3, which is 4 root 3. So that's going to give me negative 6 plus or minus 4 root 3 over 2. You can reduce everything. So then you're going to get negative 3 plus or minus 2 root 3. And there's my answer. Number 13, we don't have that c term, so I can factor a w out. So I get w and w minus 8. Set them both equal to 0, so you get w is equal to 0 and w is equal to positive 8. There's my 2 answers. Number 14, that's going to be x squared. I have to bring the 2x over by adding it. On this one, we can say what 2 numbers multiply to give me negative 8 and add to positive 2, so that's going to be positive 4x and negative 2x. So I'm going to get x squared plus 4x minus 2x minus 8 equals 0. That's going to give me x and x plus 4. Factor out a negative 2 and x plus 4. So x plus 4 equals 0. Okay, problem number 15. Let's take a look at this. We could probably add 20 to both sides because we have 2x squared equals 8 divided that by 2. So I'm going to get x squared equals 4 root. Don't forget the plus minus. So I'm going to get plus or minus 2 for an answer. Problem number 6, I need to move that 2 over. So that's going to give me a negative 2. And then I'm going to multiply those together. That's going to give me a negative 10. What 2 numbers multiply together give me negative 10 and add to negative 9. So it's going to be a negative 10x and a positive 1x. So that's going to give me 5x squared minus 10x. plus x minus 2. I can factor a 5x out of both of those. That's going to give me an x minus 2. I can only factor a 1 out. That's x minus 2. So x minus 2 equals 0. So x equals 2. There's one answer. The other answer is going to be 5x minus 1, or 5x plus 1, excuse me. Subtract 1 and divide by 5. So x equals negative 1/5. Problem number 17, we're going to distribute the 3 to both of those. So that's going to give me 6x minus 12 plus 5 equals 41. 6x, combine those together, I get negative 7 equals 41. Add 7 to both sides, so that's going to give me 48. Divide each side by 6, so it's going to give me 8 for an answer. Next problem, let's see, a couple things we could probably do. Let's see if we can figure this out. I'm going to add 7 to both sides, so that's going to give me an 8. Divide by 2, divide by 2. That's equal to 4. Square root, don't forget to do the plus minus of 4. So that's going to be plus or minus 2. And then we're going to subtract 1, so negative 1 plus or minus 2. So negative 1 plus 2 is 1, and negative 1 minus 2 is negative 3. We already did one just like this. I would not worry too much about this one. The rest of these are all, let's see. We've already done one like this. Let's take a look at this one. I'm going to subtract 18 from both sides, so 15 minus 18 is negative 3. Let's divide both sides by 3, so I'm going to get negative 1. Root. Remember, this is going to be plus or minus I. Okay, I'm not sure if you'll sit down on this test or not, but that's all we got. Have a great day. Bye-bye.